So before we go into part 2 of this tier list for Moonvember, I just want to take a moment to talk about the markets again, because it's very important to understand what could potentially be unfolding, especially in the next couple months here. So we know that October was not October. So, according to history, 10 out of the 12 months since the performance of Bitcoin has been recorded have seen green months. However, last month adds the third month in which we saw a red or a down month for October. And the one thing is the market makers know that many people now are onto the 4-year cycle. So they are setting up traps to liquidate people, and they are doing a really good job of that. Because if we go back and we look at the chart, so right now we are on the Bitcoin chart right here, and we go back to the very beginning or late September right here, when Bitcoin was sitting at about just shy of $110,000, we looked to find that the very start of October was very, very positive. So it looked like we were definitely on a trend to have that October month, which we have seen over 80% of the time based on how October has performed throughout crypto history. And it even created a brand new all-time high here on October 6th of over $126,000. But look what happened after that. So during this time, what was happening was for that first week, there were tons of people taking out massive amounts of leverage because they believe that, hey, usually Q4 of the post-halving year is absolutely explosive. You see the most gains happening then, and usually the last 3 months of the year are absolutely explosive months, being October, November, and December. So a lot of people, what they thought that was going to happen was that we're going to see a replica of that based on the 2021 cycle, 2017 cycle, 2013 and 2011 cycle. But what ended up happening is because the market makers knew that people were anticipating that this Q4 was going to be absolutely explosive, people were loading up on their leverages, and that's why on October 10th here you've seen the biggest liquidation event in crypto history, where close to $20 billion was liquidated. So they set up this trap right here where it looked like it was going to be that October that we were looking for, and they just absolutely tanked the markets on October 10th, setting the market cap of Bitcoin to from about 122,000 all the way down to about $110,000, which absolutely shook the markets, sent into massive fear. And it's been like that pretty much ever since that massive liquidation event. We did see some minor rallies here, but nothing too significant to regain that potential or that momentum that we were looking for that would give us a positive green month for the month of October. So since then, right now Bitcoin's sitting at $103,000, and even the month of November has not started well. On November 1st, the price of Bitcoin was sitting at $110,000, and we saw it absolutely just tank right here down to even under $100,000 before we seen this minor relief rally, if you want to call it, right here to its current market cap of $103,000. So the question becomes right now, if the market makers are on to that the majority of the people, a large percentage of people, are onto the 4-year cycle, and they're not giving the people what they want because everyone's anticipating that massive blow off top to happen in Q4 of the post-halving year. Here's so what I'll do is I'll share some of my thoughts on how I'll be approaching the market. And I created this post right here on X just a few hours ago, and I'll go ahead and read it. And once again, none of this is financial advice. This is just my thoughts on the markets and what could potentially unfold over the next couple months. But once again, no one has a crystal ball, so we'll see how everything turns out. But nonetheless, it's still bullish for crypto. So that's why it's very important that instead of trying to time the market, it's much more important that being the time in the market now plays a much more important role. So right here, I'll go ahead and read this right here. So the 4-year cycle in crypto could be the biggest myth. When you look at what drives boom and bust cycles, it is controlled by the liquidity cycle. So whether that's tech cycles, oil cycles, or financial cycles, etc., we are seeing this become even more distinct in this cycle for crypto. It just happened that the previous cycles have coincided with the liquidity cycle, which provided the false belief that the 4-year cycle was driven by the Bitcoin halving event. However, what truly drives all boom and bust cycles is the liquidity cycle. This has been true for all boom and bust cycles that preceded crypto, that happened to coincide with crypto over the last 15 years. And now in this cycle is truly showing that is once again the main driver of what allows assets to explode and fall into its bear market cycles. So crypto is showing to be no different. It's another asset class controlled by the liquidity cycle. So with this in mind, now what is going on in crypto today makes a lot more sense. And of course, not financial advice, just my thoughts. So that's why if you're following the 4-year cycle now, there is a lot of, let me expand this, the confusion in terms of why it's not following it to a T like how it's been doing over the course of its history is because the true driver, or pretty much the person behind the curtain that was controlling the whole system, is the liquidity cycle and not the Bitcoin halving event here. So once again, very, very important to recognize that. And there's a post here that actually supports that. So, if you're familiar with Ray Dalio, so he wrote a post here on LinkedIn about 2 days ago called Stimulating into a Bubble. So for those who are unfamiliar with Ray Dalio, you could obviously Google search him, but really quickly, he is an American billionaire and hedge fund manager. So in 2013, his hedge fund management company called Bridgewater was listed as the largest hedge fund in the world. And right now, he currently has a net worth of over $15 billion. So he knows a thing or two about what factors impact the price of assets. So he wrote this article, as I mentioned, about 2 days ago. And what I'll do is, instead of reading this word for word, I'll put the link to this article in the description. So on your own time, make sure to read it and just to understand, one possible outlook on what could be potentially unfolding in the future. But, we have this gentleman here by the name of Thomas KRALOW, which, gives a very, nice and accurate interpretation of Ray Dalio's article here that he wrote 2 days ago. So let's go ahead and read this, because this is really important in terms of what could potentially unfold in the coming months. And it's really, really bullish for crypto. So let's go ahead and have a look at this X post right here. So Ray Dalio just dropped one of the most important macro warnings of this cycle. He always goes deep in his analysis, and that's why I respect him immensely for his work. Here is a short summary and what it means for Bitcoin. So the obvious right here, number one, the Fed is about to end QT and start QE again. But this time, it's not QE to save the economy. It's QE into a bubble, and that changes everything. When the Fed usually launches QE, it's during crisis. So markets are falling, credit markets are frozen, and liquidity is gone. QE then acts as a rescue money, printing liquidity to rebuild confidence. But this time is different. So the economy is still strong. Stocks are at all-time high, which is true if you look at the S&P and so forth. Credit spreads are tight, unemployment is low, inflation is above target, and AI stocks are in full mania. So what happens when the Fed starts printing money into that type of environment? So it's no longer a stimulus into a depression, but rather a stimulus into a mania, since we have seen, the stock prices at all-time highs right now. Same with the price of gold, all-time high example. So right here, liquidity will flood already into overheated markets. So here is the main kicker right here, and this is why it's absolutely bullish for crypto. That means, number one, stocks melt up. Number two, gold rips, and we have seen both those two happen so far, and crypto goes vertical. So super, super bullish if this happens. Once again, not guaranteed, because crypto is pure global liquidity beta. It reacts first and fastest. So here is the expected sequence. So Bitcoin to Ethereum, high caps to memes, and then chaos. So once again, a lot on my channel, we talk about memes. So this would be absolutely magnificent for those meme coins that absolutely explode and capitalize on this global liquidity. So short term in terms of next 6 to 12 months, number one, massive liquidity wave. Number two, inflation hedge narrative returns. Number three, and this is what a lot of people have been talking about as well, money printer goes burr, becomes real again. Number four, speculative euphoria across AI, tech, and crypto. And once again, we're all waiting for that euphoric phase of this bull run. And according to this X post right here, and from Ray Dalio's interpretation of what could potentially unfold in the coming months, this could be the perfect setup for this. So what's not so obvious? So in the long term, so this is defined as late 2026, 2027, inflation reignites, Fed's forced to tighten again, the bubble pops violently. So that's exactly what Dalio means when he says QE into a bubble. It's the final euphoric stage of the big debt cycle, the part that feels like prosperity but ends in reset. So yes, it's extremely bullish for crypto and Bitcoin in the short term, probably the most bullish setup since 2020. So we saw how crazy the entire crypto market ripped during the 2021 bull cycle. So if this is a facsimile or something similar to that, that is something to to be absolutely bullish about. So but he does warn that, but it's not forever money. It's the last big wave before the tides turn. So make sure you make all the money you can before things go south. And once again, his interpretation, and as well as Ray Dalio's interpretation of what's going to happen in the future when it comes to the financial state of the global system, it's super bullish for crypto according to Thomas's interpretation right here, which is based on the liquidity cycle. So that's why right now I am paying a lot more attention to the liquidity cycle as opposed to going along with the 4-year cycle, because once again, when you look at the fundamentals, every single boom and bust cycle has been based and driven by the liquidity cycle. So once again, what I'll do is I'll leave the link to Ray Dalio's article right here in terms of stimulating into a bubble into the description, and also in the comments below, let me know whether you believe it's the liquidity cycle that is playing a much more important role in this particular crypto cycle. Because if it is, then maybe it is worth while to focus more on the impact of the liquidity cycle as opposed to just having a small 15-year subsection of data that has governed Bitcoin and the entire crypto market. But when you look at historically throughout time, it has been the liquidity cycle that has been driving every single boom and bust cycle. So now let's jump into the tier list for Moonvember. So especially right now, probably some of you are thinking, well, what's the point of doing a tier list for this month if we do not know exactly if we're going to get a Moonvember? Well, going back to this article right here by Ray Dalio, Stimulating into the Economy, which, all boom and bust cycles have been based on the liquidity cycle. And also, as we went through this X post from Thomas KRALOW that, analyzes and interprets Ray Dalio's most recent article, it is absolutely bullish for crypto. Because once again, according to Ray Dalio and also the interpretation by Thomas KRALOW, this means that stocks melt up, gold rips, and crypto goes vertical. So if you believe, and once again, this is not financial advice, none of us have a crystal ball, we do not know what's going to happen in the future, so this is just one potential outlook of what could be unfolding into the coming months. But if you're a proponent of this particular approach from Ray Dalio, then the markets right now, if we look at the markets in terms of the fear and greed index, it is sitting in extreme fear. So we're now sitting at 24, and we could see that this over the last pretty much week, it's been sitting in extreme fear or in a fearful state. And of course, once again, not financial advice, but if someone is looking for good entries into a crypto project or into any asset, usually the best time to do that, or one of the best times to do that anyways, is to do so when everybody is fearful. And right now, the state of the crypto market is in extreme fear. So once again, that's why I'm creating this tier list video, is so that, let's say that this approach from Ray Dalio does take place, then this could be, a potential opportunity to get really good entries into your favorite plays. So with that, let's jump into the tier list, or part 2 of this Moonvember tier list. All right, so to kick off the tier list for part 2 is XPX 6900. So we know that Murad, he is pretty much, many consider him as the messiah when it comes to meme coins here. And right now, because the whole market has been absolutely getting demolished, the market cap of XPX 6900 is only sitting at $670 million, which is like really, really small when you consider its potential, and when it reached into its billions at its all-time high, just last year here. So with such a market cap of 670 million, I could see this thing being easily in the awesome tier when it comes to potential multiples. So once again, if it runs to anything like to 20 billion or 30 billion, that's anywhere between like a 30 to 40x on XPX 6900. So, has lots of potential. And in my opinion, anyways, once again, not financial advice, I believe that XPX 6900 will be one of the top meme coins that will lead this meme coin super cycle moving into the next couple months, if we get that big euphoric phase that happens, according to the likes of Ray Dalio and the other expos from Thomas Crowley that I had just read. So let's talk about PopCat. Now, PopCat, in my opinion, is one of the blue chips when it comes to cat meme coins. So right now, the market cap of PopCat is only sitting at about $150 million. And at its all-time high, it reached, market cap in the billions. And, I believe, in my opinion anyways, that we'll see another cat season when it comes to meme coins. And because of that, I could see PopCat, getting a lot of that liquidity. At being 150 million market cap, I'm going to put the potential multiple from here anyways of PopCat into the awesome category. So next up we have is Ask Liquid. Now Ask Liquid belongs in the DeFi perp DEX narrative, and of course we had talked about Ask Liquid several times on this channel here, but the one thing that it has going for it is that it runs off of the narrative of Aster, which forms the Ask part of its name, and Liquid, which it gets from Hyper Liquid, and both of those perp DEXs are worth anywhere between 2 billion to 10 billion respectively at the time of this recording here, and only having a market cap of about $300,000. I see major upside when it comes to Ask Liquid, and because of that, in my opinion anyways, it's not going to be difficult, or should not be, but once again, we won't know until it happens, to see Ask Liquid go from, let's say, a $300,000 market cap to a $30 million market cap or more. So that would potentially give it 100x. Because of that, and being in the narrative of perp DEXs and being tied to Aster and Hyperliquid, I believe that Ask Liquid has the ability to create some GOAT type of multiples. So here we have is KITTEHCOIN. Now KITTEHCOIN still remains one of my favorite coins here. So I know that its X account got banned very recently, but they came out with another X account that focuses on the community, for example. And right now the market cap of KITTEHCOIN is only sitting at $670,000. And if you could compare that to the market cap of, let's say, a PopCat right now at 150 million, and as well as the potential of reaching into the billions, which we have seen several cat meme coins do that already. Number one is PopCat. Mog has reached over $1 billion plus when it comes to the market cap. Also for Toshi, and having such a small market cap of 670,000, and more importantly, having the storyline that's very unique to it, because KITTEHCOIN was the main rival and competition to DOGECOIN in 2013. So that storyline is going to be very, very important in terms of how people perceive the potential value of KITTEHCOIN. And because of its low market cap and its lore that comes with it, coupled with the fact that we have seen cat meme coins reach into the billions, I am going to put KITTEHCOIN into the GOAT category when it comes to potential multiples. So moving on, we have is MEOW. So I cover MEOW extensively on this channel for the last couple months here. And because of how we talked about how the markets have been absolutely getting destroyed, the market cap of MEOW is only sitting at about $18 million market cap. So, we saw it run all the way up to about a $70 million market cap before retracing to its current market cap of about 17 million at the time of this recording right here. Once again, they have super strong partnerships. It's based on, a Shiba Inu that is the most famous and pampered Shiba Inu on the internet, having a following count of over 20 million people across all of its socials. Also, they have partnerships with Chainlink as well, and also they have built out a roadmap that is really evolving MEOW from a meme coin into a utility based project. And because of all that bullish catalyst and with its current market cap, I am going to put MEOW into the awesome category. So next up we have is DOGECOIN. So DOGECOIN needs no introduction. Everybody knows DOGECOIN. It is the granddaddy of all meme coins. And right now its market cap is sitting at about $25 billion. And we saw that it ran to about $60 billion during the US presidential election when crypto markets were absolutely ripping. So we could see that it could attract a ton of liquidity, but since it is an older meme coin and also it is the largest meme coin currently out there, in my opinion, I would not be surprised that DOGECOIN maybe does like a 3 to 4x from here. So, maybe reaches all-time high, the previous one of 90 billion, or maybe surpassing it into like the low 100 billions plus. And because of that, I am going to put the potential multiples for DOGECOIN into the decent category. All right, now we have is MEMECOIN. Now MEMECOIN is the first female Shiba Inu, also Bonk's sister. So it runs into, or probably the strongest beta play to Bonk. So, I would expect, and once again, not guaranteed, that we'll see Bonk have its time under the spotlight again. So when that happens, then it will be time for MEMECOIN to shine. So right now, the market cap of MEMECOIN, super undervalued in my opinion, only sitting at about $2 million market cap. And we can see how hard it could run when it gets a lot of attention as well. So it's a proven winner when it comes to its ability to run. So, during the euphoric phase of the bull run, if that happens, once again, not guaranteed, but if it happens, then the potential multiples for MEMECOIN. And once again, since MEMECOIN is the first female Shiba Inu, I believe that MEMECOIN will be one of the main crypto projects that will play a critical role in terms of onboarding the female demographic. And because of all those bullish catalysts, I am going to put the potential multiples of MEMECOIN into the godly category. Next up, we have a fan favorite here, which is Biddy. Now, Biddy is the mascot for Bitcoin. So in terms of its longevity and the attention that it could attract to it, we know that Biddy has all of that going for it as well. And there's lots of KOLs that are talking about Biddy during the time where, it was getting its time under the spotlight. So with a market cap, and right now, Biddy's market cap, very similar to MEMECOIN, sitting at probably right now, I think it's about a $2.5 million market cap. So when liquidity pours in and there's a lot of attention around, let's say even Bitcoin and meme coins, I believe, in my opinion, once again, not financial advice, that Biddy could do some incredible numbers. In fact, probably GOAT type of return. So I'm going to put Biddy into the GOAT category when it comes to potential multiples. And next up we have is Toshi. Now everybody loves Toshi. He's a blue chip when it comes to meme coins, and especially a lot of people view him as the main mascot for the base chain, very similar to how people see Biddy as the main mascot for Bitcoin. We know how popular the entire mascot narrative could be, but before I rank him, Once again, what I'm going to be doing is saving that for the next video. So make sure to subscribe to my channel, turn on that notification bell, and I'll be creating part 3 where I'll be ranking Toshi and adding more to this list of crypto projects that I'll be adding to part 3 of this tier list for the month of Moonvember. And as always, nothing in this video is financial advice, so always make sure to do your own research. Also, crypto is risky, so as much as everything can go to the moon, it can go down to 0 as well. So please invest responsibly. Also, I am not a financial advisor, so if everything in this video sounds good to you, make sure to subscribe to this channel, turn on that notification bell, and give this video a big thumbs up. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.